This has been a slobber knocker of a week. Hi BookTube, it's Kim at Middle of the Book March. Welcome to my Bookish week for November 7th, Saturday. And for whatever reason, New Hampshire has turned into almost an end of summer climate here. So for the past couple of days, we've had mid-70s weather, low 70s. So I'm going to try to get this done quickly so I can get outside with my kid and have a picnic in the park. I've not been able to finish much. It's been such a weird, tense week coming off of a weird, tense 4 years. So I know for so many of us, especially those of us who are in the US, who have just been I feel like I'm in the corner in a fetal position, drooling on myself half the time. It's been weird. I am reading a lot, but not finishing much. And I was finally able to finish a really short book that I read yesterday. I think I read it in an hour. So I'll show you that. I feel like I picked it up in order to get that sense of reading accomplishment because I knew I could read it quickly. I was interested in reading it. And so, yeah, I felt good that I finished something. And this is 2 or 3 Things I Know for Sure by Dorothy Allison. Dorothy Allison is the author of Bastard Out of Carolina. I'm not sure if any of you have read that. I read it a long time ago and it deserves a reread because it's just amazingly written, extremely painful to read, violent, raw. But this is a very short 90-something pages, 94 pages it's called a memoir, but I feel like it's a snippet of a memoir because it is so short. She's kind of talking about her own family's history in rural South Carolina. And honestly, much of this is her thoughts on storytelling. And this almost feels to me like just her dipping her toe into the water of writing a full-blown memoir. And I didn't even look into what else is out there that she's written of her own life. One of the things that bothered me, and it has nothing to do with her or this book, is I think Oprah maybe appropriated the 2 or 3 Things I Know for Sure years ago when she still had her show, or maybe when she did the O magazine, but I think she may have appropriated this and made it into a little bit of a cliche, but this is Dorothy Allison's. The book was published in 1995. So Dorothy Allison, as I said, is an author, and she grew up in extremely rural, poor South Carolina. And she doesn't pause at all at describing her family as poor whites in the South, and she kind of basically comes out and infers that they would be considered trash, poor white trash. And I think all of her books kind of have that theme running through them. So she very succinctly describes her childhood in the rural South. She is one of many children whose families all had many children. She has a sister. There are family members that are in the family tree that she doesn't even know. She has, there's rampant abuse, alcoholism. She very succinctly describes her sexual assault at the age of 5 by her stepfather. It's very painful to read her story, and her childhood was consumed by violence and abuse and poverty. She was a reader, and she would read all the time and be punished for it. And so as she moves on in her story, she's talking about her female relatives, her mother, her grandmother, her aunt, her sister. Then she gives very little description about the men in her family and the men in her background. And then probably about halfway through the book, she talks about her sexuality. She came out as a lesbian, and she also discusses a little bit of her experiences with relationships with women. It's extremely enlightening because she also discusses abusive relationships that she had with women, how she feels about her own sexuality. It's a very raw little book. My only complaint is the length. And there's so much in here that she touches on, like, you know, dipping the toe in the water. There's so many things that she opens up, and I want more. Her writing is wonderful. Really wish there was more to sink into in that book. That was the only book I finished. And I did it yesterday. A small feeling of accomplishment, not much. So what am I currently reading? I am mostly reading nonfiction because it's Nonfiction November. And I have several buddy reads in the works, so let me show you. These Truths obviously matches my shirt. Well, most of my shirt. This is an ongoing read. I'm not picking this up at this point in time until it's probably sometime at the end of next week. I might pick it back up again and continue. I am currently reading, and will finish by the end of this month, my buddy read with Alba, Daniel Deronda, that we brought through from Victober last month. I absolutely love this book, and I think it's George Eliot who I love. George Eliot can be long-winded, and Alba and I have talked about this, and she gets very descriptive with her words, and there are times it's like, what did I just read? I need to go over that again. It's Victorian language, but I absolutely love her stories. I love her writing. I love her description. I am reading for a buddy read for Nonfiction November, The Unwomanly Face of War by Svetlana Alexievich. Now, I don't know if I've said this before, but this is translated from the Russian by Richard Pevere and Larissa Volochansky. They actually translated one of the, I think it's the Penguin version of Anna Karenina. It's an oral history of Russian women in World War II. So I'm almost done with the first section of this book, and we're going to be reading it through the month, so I'm almost a quarter through. I am buddy reading this with Scott and Nell from Gunpowder Fiction and Plot, and we'll be checking in for the first time today. It's interesting because the author, Alexievich, writes a foreword or an introduction to the book, and she puts in so many details about women's experiences in war and the brutalities that they either witnessed or were involved in. It's harrowing, but very good book. I could say I'm enjoying it, but I don't think enjoy is the right word. So it's an excellent read. I continue with Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I'm not rushing myself because I've got so many other things on the go, and it's been a little bit difficult to concentrate, but I am still reading that. I started a buddy read with Britta at Britta Bowler's channel, and it's Female Chauvinist Pigs, The Rise of Raunch Culture by Ariel Levy. I just started in this one. If you remember Girls Gone Wild, you'll understand the premise of this book, and so far it's so interesting. I've read like, I don't know, 30 pages, and I've highlighted on every page. There's so much to digest. There's so much information. Really good so far. Very accessible writing, and she has a lot of important things to say about that. The last book I'm currently reading is a memoir. Oh, it's not the last book. Take that back. Second to last is Deborah Levy's The Cost of Living. Deborah Levy is a British writer, and I read her book Hot Milk beginning of this year, beginning of this year, and really enjoyed it. This one is she calls it a working autobiography, and this kind of starts to take place after her divorce. She divorces her husband at the age of 50. She has 2 daughters. One of them has gone off to college, so she's gone from a family of 4 to a family of 2. But the cost of living is not talking about finances. It's talking about a modern manifesto on the politics of womanhood, marriage, motherhood. I love this so far. I don't know, it's about 130 something pages. I'm on page 31. Absolutely love it so far. I've highlighted a couple of passages. She's an excellent writer. I loved her writing in her novel Hot Milk, and I really love her writing in this memoir. And now the last book that I'm reading, I picked up Citizen by Claudia Rankine, and I'm listening to that on audio on Scribd because I just stumbled upon it on Scribd, and I've heard so much about it, so I started listening to that on audio. It is a collection of essays, commentary, and poetry on racial issues and microaggressions and racism. It's very poignant and, again, very raw in places. It's an interesting combination of an essay format and a poetry format. There's so much to say about a Black person's experiences in the world with racism, with relationships, with education and opportunity. It's so far, I'm not that far into it, and it's excellent. So I'm going to continue to listen to that. I hope to finish many of these books next week. I don't know. How long is this count going to go on? I have no idea. And every state is different. All I want to say to my booktube friends around the world who have made comments, thank you so much for your support and your continued encouragement. It really does mean a lot to know that you're paying attention and you can kind of see what's happening, and you know, you're witnessing, we're all witnessing history, but you're witnessing something that is unprecedented here in this country. And I just honestly appreciate your friendship and appreciate any of the comments that you've already made to me. And the fact that you're watching means a lot. So thank you for that. I don't know why, but there's somebody outside revving their motorcycle. So if you hear that, that's what it is. I don't know who it is. But anyway, it's been a rough week for me because along with all of the political crap and all of the coverage and, you know, it's almost a culmination of 4 years of what the hell am I watching kind of a thing. What did he say today? You can't wake up on a daily basis in this country and not read or hear something new that just your jaw hits the floor. And that's how I felt for 4 years. So, and along with that, you know, in our country, around the world actually, we are staying home, and we are quarantining, and we are avoiding gatherings, of doing all that kind of thing. My daughter does 100% remote learning, and in my town, the numbers of COVID cases that are positive have gone up, so they have decided to take all of the students in the town to do 100% remote learning. Some of our students were going to school in person, and very early in September, when kids started returning to school, positive cases started going up. They're now up to the point where all students are remote learning. My child is not a neurotypical child, so we have our own set of challenges, and it's been difficult to deal with. We're getting there, and I have very close contact with the school and her teachers and her supports. So it's been rough, but I can see the light at the end of the tunnel in a lot of different respects. So that's where I'm at. Again, I'm going to end this now. That's all I have to say this week. We're going to go outside. We're going to go get pizza and sit in the park. We're going to just get out of this house. So hopefully you're all doing well. I hope you're reading some good stuff. I hope you're able to read and concentrate. Let me know down below any of your comments on the books I showed you or anything I said. I don't care, anything at all. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, everybody.